All right, welcome to another episode from the Chart Readers. We are doing another recent runner technical analysis videos looking at what look like two of the biggest movers of the day, okay? We're looking at THMO and ELEV. Look, I hope that you've seen enough of my recent runner videos to kind of see what should always jump out right away on these videos, right? This nasty uptick in volume, right? So clearly this will be one of the biggest things we talk about. Obviously the moving averages are super important as well. But before we get into any of the details, what are we going to do? Same thing we always do, right? We'll take a look at the daily and the weekly to see how things are setting up. We have our 5 moving averages. This is the first time I'm covering the stock, so I will draw some horizontal support and resistance lines. And then when we're done up here, we'll use the MACD, RSI, and volume as our lower indicators. My Rams thing is here. I am actually a season ticket holder at the Rams, so go LA. Here we go. I actually like the Chargers more, though. Again, season ticket holder there, too. Little too much personal stuff there. Let's get into the charts. That's why you're here. Really quick, if you can please like and subscribe. It does well with the YouTube algorithms. If you hate the Rams and the Chargers, I assume that you're not, and I completely understand for sure. Hey, if you disagree with anything I got to say, please throw it in the comments, okay? I am not here pretending to be perfect or all-knowing, and honestly, if your opinions are better than mine, I really would love to know, okay? Look, this is a recent runner to say the least. A 98, an almost 100% on a single day. Look, this is what I call chasing the dragon, okay? I really need to make sure people know this before I get into the details. There is absolutely nothing on this chart that says from here to here would have happened. We're under all the moving averages. MACD looks bad. RSI looks bad. Clearly, the volume is so low where we don't even see a little tick red or nothing. There are no. I often talk about my better indicator stack, right? Like when I move my money, I use something called the one. We're looking at chart readers, obviously. The one isn't good enough to have known this, and anyone that says that they do or any of that, they are full of it. All right, I promise you, something moving this much is not normal, and no set of indicators will know it. Okay, what matters more, why I make these videos, is the day after. It's much easier to know if this thing's gonna keep running and sustain, or if it's just another pump and dump. Okay, so just make sure you get that. All right, so now let's kind of start talking about the details. All right, what do I think about today? Look, today doesn't count at all. This is as textbook as dojis get. This thing opens at 419. This thing closes at 419. Literally, start and end of the day, exact same point. There were moments it flew well above 5. Somebody bought up here. I hope that they sold instead of watching it come all the way down, right? And then at the same time, someone realized that they thought this was all full of it, right? There was no reason for this thing to go from sub 250 all the way to 4, and they were like, this thing's full of it, right? And it ends up coming back. That's what a doji is. A doji's uncertain. Not sure if it's going to fly, not sure if it's going to die. We'll just end it and wait for tomorrow to show, right? I don't like that this couldn't get over the 100 moving average, okay? It definitely should have. It couldn't, right? And again, it shows the power of these lines. Very quickly, we're looking at regular hours. I'm going to show post-market. I for sure know it's still going up. I'm not pretending I don't see that. We're at 187% after hours right now. After hours is the easiest way to fool yourself. This matters more than what's happening right now. I sincerely believe that, okay? So we're going to draw a couple lines here. I very much care about this. Look, honestly, this is going to be the nicest line to break, because from there, hopefully you start filling the gap, and really all you have between there is this 7 something, and that's a pretty nice trade right there. Even if this thing stops it going from 6 something to almost 8, that's a good move right there, right? Aside from the top of this, I actually want to draw another one at roughly 50% of that guy. I do think that's going to be an important one because, again, this pretty much was the last big candle before the tank. And then obviously I'm going to do the same thing for here because this is actually the last immediate one. So those are probably the lines I'm going to draw. Yeah, I think that's good on the top. And then look, this for sure has to open above 419. If this thing, and again, I'm telling you, just because it's up here right now doesn't mean it won't drop in pre-market. So like don't pretend to yourself it can't happen. I'm telling you, I've seen it happen, all right? This thing must open above 419 before you even consider it on tomorrow, okay? Really, this thing needs to actually open above 427. I really wouldn't touch this below 430. I'll probably set an alert. Yeah, I think 436. And we'll go a little bit lower. Let's go 433. I think 433 would be an interesting place to see it. And then really, I would take this 510 line. I'll probably go with 511 as my next alert. Look, an alert is not an immediate buy notification at all. It's definitely a come check it out, okay? From there, look, I am not in this. I mean, I'm telling you, I have no interest in jumping into this after hours, that's for sure. But the next place I guess I would consider it is obviously going to be this one. I'm not going to make an alert for this one right here, but I would for this one, and I'd make it at 627, okay? 627. Just let me know if we crack over that. That's basically what I'm looking for. Let me know if this thing gets over the 100. Let me know if we can get over here. And then obviously let me know if we break this bad boy right here, right? But from there, look, do not pretend to yourself that this thing might not come down. Let's just look at the stock really quick. Let's take a look. As I zoom out, it has been forever that we've been under this 100 moving average. There was this one moment right here. But even this moment right here wasn't much of a break, right? It was a little bit get over, kind of go horizontal, and then a very nasty drop, right? So this 100 moving average is for sure no joke. It's literally been more than a year and a half. Shit, I mean, man, yeah, for sure. Yeah, man, we can even go further back. We had this little moment right here. So I guess we'll say since June of 21, we've been under that 100. Don't take that for granted. Don't believe that this 100 is going to be easy to break. Don't fool yourself that this post-market move is a guarantee that this thing's going to break. It has to happen during regular hours. It really does. That's how my technicals work, right? So yeah, I'm not going to look at the weekly. There's nothing to talk about. Look, obviously today's movement, I guess I'll at least have to say that today's movement brought us over the 20 moving average. That's pretty huge. Because again, look at it, same basic story. We actually have not been over the 20 in a good while, since pretty much, I'd even actually call it right here, since March of 21, right? So even worse than that July one. Yeah, I mean, okay, hopefully, what's this 340 number? U 340. Yeah, hopefully it doesn't go any lower than the 50 moving average. This should be able to catch it just based on the weekly, right? Because that's the 8 moving average on the weekly. But yeah, if it goes any lower than 340, that'd be scary, because then it could actually go really quickly into the twos. Even though we do have these here, I do think if we lose this 50, it'll probably just skip the 20 and almost come down to the 8 if I had to guess. But obviously, we haven't even talked about it yet. But look, the day before, volume was less than 100K. We now see 30 million shares. Unless they dropped really hardcore news, this just kind of screams pump and dump unless we do some beautiful things tomorrow. So just be careful, all right? That's obviously the moral of the story here. The next ticker is ELEV. And again, this is another real big mover, okay? The one thing I will say though, this day was a little more predictable, because look at what this candle did. This candle destroyed all those moving averages, and it got over the biggest one to the left. All right. Now, does it necessarily say, yeah, we're going to for sure get 60% and all that? No, not really. But even on this day, you can see the RSI was already kind of peaking. The MACD was already kind of peaking, right? Like, this is a really big break of all moving averages. Like I said, it got over that line right there. And yeah, that's actually the gift that comes with doing something as important as getting over all the moving averages in a really big candle, for sure, right? So, not a wild surprise, and look where it put us. Once that cracked, oh man, it even just gapped over it. Red. There's a lot of reason to believe this might come to 4. Maybe it'll stop a little closer to up here. This is definitely, and that's actually exactly where we're at. This is the next plateau test, right? So maybe you can kind of say this one too, but man, this is a real interesting chart, actually. I'm for sure not in this one. I don't think I would enter unless we broke 286. And then from there, my expectations are basically we're going to come to here to a 370, give or take. And the question will be, can we break 370? I'll go ahead and actually draw that line. It's the top of this guy right here. Can we break that 370 and break that little plateau and make the next push up to here to 6 something? So that's basically what we're looking for. Look, again, what I love, obviously we'll talk about the volume again shortly, but being over all the moving averages really did justify bringing this. I'm telling you, I'm far less surprised that this happened. Obviously, the number is huge. Getting a 60% day is big, right? Like, this very easily could have been like a 20% day, and it would have been still good, right? But yeah, again, this is a little more understandable, especially like I said, when we see this like massive drop down right here, right? It pretty much just did a beautiful fill, right? So a lot of this is actually technically like makes sense, Volume's going to be the big story though, because again, we go from less than 300K to 20 million, right? We cannot have 10 million or anything lower, right? We do not want to lose 50% volume. We need 22 million tomorrow. We have to trade more tomorrow than we did today for this thing to go up. You know what I mean? But yeah, I think that's about it here. I don't think there's too much more to talk about on the daily. I guess let's talk about the bad. What would bad be, right? Obviously, I need to put a line at roughly 50% candle. I'll put a line right here. And then, yeah, if we lose 169, it ends up becoming these. But look, we're a good ways away from the 8. So ideally, this 8 moving average, which we actually have been riding for a bit, is a true support. And look, we have the 20 curling up as well. We actually have the 50 curling up. So maybe these actually keep curling up and going. And then, yeah, there's a chance that this one continues. I'll be honest. I like the technical reasons that we're seeing here for it to go up. RSI is a little high. 75 is definitely not low, right? But yeah, there's still movement this thing can do. It looks like 75 is kind of the highest the RSI has actually been. Interesting. Even this peak right here is close. So maybe RSI is a little higher than ideal. But yeah, overall, I like this as long as volume holds. And yeah, let's open up and work our way up, right? Because a lot of reason to believe this would go to 290. So cool. Yeah. Hey, let's look at the weekly real quick. Did I look at the weekly before I say goodbye? Ooh, monstrous. We are over all the moving averages on the weekly. That's a beautiful thing, right? Again, now I kind of have a line right here at 150. I think maybe 150. Where are you on the daily for 150? Yeah, right here. I'm going to draw this line just from the weekly. That is an important line right there. But cool. Again, that does kind of tell me that, hey, I don't think we're going to come back down into this, which is good. All right. Yeah, I think that's about it. Hey, I hope you agree here. If you don't, like I said, throw it in the comments. Otherwise, I appreciate your time so much.